This is Sandy.
This is Reza. Welcome back to the 12th episode of the Stone Cold Sober Podcast.
Post Valentine's Day.
Post Valentine's Day one. How was your Valentine's Day?
It's a cold one out there.
It's freezing.
Valentine's Day was good. Kept it chill. I have a lot of friends right now in Vermont at Mount Snow, and I was gonna go, but some things came up, and I thought I was gonna go home this weekend for Chinese New Year, but my parents decided that we'll just. I don't know if they wanted like a long weekend at home, but it looks like we're just doing next weekend, so I could have gone up, but I'm sort of glad. You know, I don't ski, and I would have just kept it real chill. So it probably wouldn't have been worth it, but a lot of my friends are up there, so.
Sounds good.
What about yourself?
So yesterday, Elena was in Florida for a good part of this week visiting her sister. So I picked her up from the airport yesterday. Her flight was delayed by about an hour. As soon as I picked her up, the snow kicked in real hard. So it took us about an hour and a half, 2 hours just to get back to her house when it should normally take like 40 minutes or so. But we made it fine. Otherwise, it was good. Just hanging out, chilling with her.
Good.
Yeah. So this week, the last two podcasts, we've kind of focused on your relationships, right? And some of the dating that you've been doing. But I'd actually been thinking recently how difficult it could be to keep in touch with some of your old friends from like high school and college, as well as how difficult it can be to actually make friends, to the point where when it comes to making friends, it can sometimes be as stressful as going on a date with a girl or a guy if you're a girl.
Do you think I should just start going out with these girls and asking them if they want to be my friend?
Or you could just start going out with some dudes and be like, hey, you like football? You like the Chargers? How do you feel about the Chargers?
You want to be my friend?
You could be a Charger buddy.
Is that how it works?
Yes. That's exactly how it works. That's how it worked as a kid, at least, That's kind of what I was thinking about. When, as a kid, it wasn't such a weird question to, like, see somebody, have a brief conversation with them, and be like, do you want to be my friend? At that point, your best buddies, provided you say yes. You don't just say, will you be my friend, and all of a sudden your best buddy. You got to say yes. But I remember a few of my childhood friends started off that way. Somebody asked if I wanted to be their friend, or I asked if they wanted to be my friend. And obviously there was no like social repercussions for asking something like that. Whereas I feel like nowadays, if you ask like a grown man or a grown woman, do you want to be my friend? That's kind of a weird question to ask.
Yeah. It's I mean, we all sort of, if we take a step back, we answer the first question of like keeping in touch with old friends.
Yeah.
When you graduate high school, let's just use high school as sort of like the step one.
Yeah.
The group that you graduated high school with, do you still consider yourself close with every single one of those people?
No.
It's tragic. It's a little tragic, wouldn't you say? It's like a slow decline, I would say. I remember sort of thinking like, oh, these are the friends that I graduated high school with, and those are always going to be like my closest friends.
Right.
And like every weekend or like every month, you just start reaching out to them a little bit less and less. It's like a really sort of stealthy way of going about things. Like you just either forget or it doesn't occur to you, and then a few weeks go by, a few months go by, and then you're like, oh, I wonder how that person's doing. When before you'd be talking to them all the time.
Right. And I guess that's part of the reason. So in high school, I guess even in a primary school, elementary, middle, high school, you're seeing these people every single day, like almost every single day of your life, 5 days a week when school's in session. It's very easy to keep in contact with these people, to the point where you might be seeing them too much. But once you go off to college, you start to make new friends. So for me, I remember keeping in contact with a lot of my high school friends pretty regularly, like my first, we'll say, semester or two of college. But after that, I remember, you start to become closer and closer with some of your college friends, and then you start to lose touch with some of those high school friends.
Yeah.
And even if you did try to keep in contact, people, I just remember when I would come home from time to time, I would try to meet up with people, see what people were doing on the weekends, and sometimes you wouldn't hear back from them at all, or they're home and they would text you back, say they'll get back to you when they're free, and they never do. I'm not going to sit here and say I've never been guilty of that. But that just kind of seems to happen more frequently for me now.
Yeah. It sort of like the old adage of phones work both ways.
Hmm.
Um, rings true, and I know, like you said, we've both been guilty of not being the best sort of friend to reach out to people.
Yeah.
Um, but I guess you do your best with you do your best, and maybe the truth really does hit you in the face of if you do have some free time and you're looking to hang out with someone, if that particular person doesn't come to the top of mind, maybe there's a reason for that.
Right.
Like maybe that's just the the honest truth that people don't want to say out loud. We're not here to try and be dicks, but sort of where you are in your life at this point sort of dictates where you want to go next, right?
Right.
And maybe people who you used to be really close with don't sort of fit that mold anymore.
Yeah. I mean, that can definitely be it.
Like I'm not gonna name names, but coming out of high school, I had probably like 5 or 6 really close friends,
Right.
and now I only speak to like you don't even count because we
Yeah, because
caught up
we
in.
weren't that close until college.
That's funny, right? You and
Right.
you were close with my ex girlfriend
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
of well
Senior year
because of
at
a medical
least.
program that you guys did,
Right.
sort of like an internship thing that you guys did, which I think is really cool for the high school to sort of give.
Yeah.
That's neither here nor there, but we didn't come into get in touch or really talk to each other until what freshman year of college,
Maybe even later than that. I mean,
sophomore year,
yeah, something like that.
just because of video games, right? Like I think I chatted you, was like, "Hey, do you play Call of Duty?"
Yeah, something like that.
And look where we are now. You're one of my closest friends.
Yeah, making podcasts together, all because of Call of Duty.
All because of Call of Duty. I talk to you more than anyone else
Yeah.
on the daily. You know, like at work, your G chat sort of just comes up, and we
Yeah.
sort of know each other now. Where it's if one of us is yellow, we sort of just get it.
Right.
But yeah, like so, not including you, there's probably like 3 people from high school that I still talk to.
Yeah.
Which is tragic because, well, I mean, people have their own lives.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. People have moved. You've moved, right? Like you're not in
Yeah.
Westchester anymore, Chadds Ford.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking about it too. I do keep in contact with some of my good friends from high school. So I'm still, I'll still text or hang out with a few of my high school friends. But that's also partially because I'm still in the area. I'm close enough that I can see everybody still. But there are a decent amount of friends that I have from high school too that I would talk to just about every day, even outside of school, that I haven't spoken a word to in years at this point.
Yeah.
The other day, I actually reached out to a few of them last week, I
What
guess.
made you do that?
I had actually heard from one of my older
Okay.
friends, and I just started to reminisce on high school days, and I decided, just see how everybody else was doing, where they were. One of my friends was, the last I heard, he was in Atlanta, and when I talked to him last week, he had actually moved to Chicago. I'm not even sure how long ago or how long he's been in Chicago now. But it's just kind of funny how you can lose touch with people for so long. Even when you're on Facebook, you can still miss out on big events, like life-changing events like that.
Oh yeah. It's so easy because social media just becomes so much white noise.
Yeah,
There's nothing. I mean, it's hard to sift through stuff, and it's crazy how easy it is to just do something as really simple yet I think pretty touching to just tell someone happy birthday when it's their birthday.
yeah,
Because everyone likes to feel a little bit special on their birthday, right?
right.
But if you can't even summon the courage or the effort to write a generic happy birthday message on Facebook, that sort of tells me where we are.
Yeah, right.
Like,
Uh,
we can't even do this? Oh, okay.
I have a funny relationship when it comes to Facebook happy birthday messages. I feel like they don't. For me, I've gotten to the point where I don't really care about them. Like, or I shouldn't say I don't care. Like I do appreciate when people write happy birthday to me. That they take the 5 seconds out of their day just to write happy birthday. Sometimes people just ask how you're doing. In fact, that's how my girlfriend and I started dating, or at least we started talking again. We'd known each other for a while. She wished me happy birthday. Then we started to talk or text a little bit.
Yeah.
And then one day I was just I kind of I don't know why I thought of her, but I sent her a random text just to say hi, and I guess the rest is history,
The
right?
rest is history. Yeah,
Um,
it's. Well, I mean, you don't. I mean, I can understand like not placing a lot of emphasis because your I guess your real friends know your birthday in real life, but it's. I guess it's for people that are keeping in touch from like afar.
right.
That's sort of what I'm talking about. Like, oh, it's nice.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, my good friend. So like for you for example, I actually might not put that. I'll definitely text you or call you and say happy birthday. But if I don't write happy birthday on your wall, I'm not gonna feel anything of it. Like
No, no,
yeah, as
no.
long as as long as I send the text or make the call, I feel better about myself than if I write the happy birthday on
Oh
Facebook.
yeah, no doubt.
But I feel like I should write the happy birthday on Facebook anyway because that's like the little record. Like, hey,
Oh
did I
like,
hear back? Did I hear from him last year? And
oh
then and
yeah,
then and then and
receipt.
then you check that wall to wall and you see I didn't write happy birthday to you. Then you're like, what a dick.
This punk bitch. Um, yeah, no. So I'm glad that you were able to catch up with your friend before the big sort of life change.
Yeah, and there's still others that I like to get in contact with as well. Um, I've noticed this kind of falling out bit with some of my college friends too.
Falling out makes it
Now, I
seem
shouldn't say
like something
falling out
went
like we're not
down.
friends anymore or anything like that, but
Okay.
just losing touch with some of them.
Yeah.
Again, people that you see every single day, you live with them now. So you're even close. Like I guess that's kind of how it was in college, right? You were so close to a lot of these people, you became close friends really fast because you're exposed to just about every part of their life. I don't know about you, but my dorm was intentionally made up of people of the same major. So I'll say about a third of my floor was comprised of computer science majors,
Okay.
and the majority of us had every single class together. So we would go to class together. We'd have the same assignments. So we'd be working on the same stuff together. We also lived together. We would
Yeah.
go out together. We would eat together. You're just you're together all the time. You can build these really close friendships with one another
Sure.
really fast. And it's kind of a shame to see that I'm keeping in contact more with some of my high school friends than I do with my college friends.
Hmm.
Why that is, I'm not really sure. I don't have a great answer for that one.
Some of my closest friends to this day, I met on my floor,
Yeah.
or close enough, like one floor up, where, um, I mean, yeah, some of my closest friends to this day are from that point. So I totally understand sort of that forced closeness, and that sort of reminds me of like that New York Times like love uh, quiz that I was telling you about earlier,
Yeah.
where it's sort of the idea holds true in my mind, where intimacy can sort of be engineered if you just force people to divulge more and more information about themselves,
Right.
to feel that sort of closeness. And I think that's what those dorm buildings are designed to do.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
oh,
true.
like if you're just forced to be really close with each other, you're gonna feel sort of a natural tendency to get closer with people. Um, but yeah, I mean, I struggle with the idea. Well, not the idea. I struggle with actually keeping in touch with people. I don't know if it's like my need to ritualize everything in my life. Like, all right, this weekend we'll talk to these people. Next weekend we'll talk to these people, and sort of like looping and repeating.
Hmm.
Um, but I do sort of go through bits where I think to myself, I wonder whatever happened to that person.
Right.
And it's like, well, you can just say something and figure that out. It's like, nah, that's too much work. I don't feel like doing that. And it's like, oh, so we're back to square one.
I do hear you on that. I guess for me it's kind of like I might think of somebody and I intend on texting them or just saying hi, and I'll just put it off, and the next thing I know it's a week later
Yeah.
and I never said anything, and again I'll just be like, yeah, you know what, I'll get to it soon enough, and I feel like I never, or I rarely do. And that's why last week I tried to make a point to just send as many
Well, good.
messages and just say hellos. Some people have probably changed the number because I didn't hear back from some of the people.
Hmm.
Obviously it's very easy to get the numbers, but I have to go out of my way now to get them, and I've kind of already found myself in that loop of, oh, tomorrow or later on today or something like that.
Yeah. I mean, you'll chase numbers you want to chase down.
Yeah, that's true.
I had a really interesting encounter with a friend who I hadn't spoke to since 2008. Um, she was in the city. It was like a random Thursday, and she posted on a couple of people's walls, like one of those group posts, like, "Hey, I'm in the city. If anyone wants to grab dinner," and I'll be honest, originally I wasn't feeling that idea because I figured, well, if she's here to see like other people too, like I'm not gonna catch up in a group setting because that doesn't make sense in my brain.
Yeah,
Um, where everything makes sense, Reza.
everything
Um,
should.
and so I just sort of like let it play, and then when I saw that everyone like I was tagged along with like maybe five other people, six other people, and every one of them had plans. I go, oh, I should totally do this. Um, and normally, sort of, I would have just let that lazy get in the way,
Right.
be like, I just go home and because I was still doing the oh my god, the West Wing binge. I was like, I totally forgot about that
Yep.
show already. Um, I was doing the West Wing binge, and I was thinking, I just want to go home and continue that. Like that's how sad it's gotten, you know. Like I just want to watch West Wing. That's what, like on a cold day like today, that's like there's nothing better than just
Yeah.
next episode, next episode. But we ended up connecting over dinner and drinks afterward. And it was like one of the craziest nights. Just like fully catch up with somebody. It was such like an awesome experience to just see how people are doing and what are they doing with their lives. And I I'm very happy that I sort of uh, followed up with that.
Yeah, I remember that, and I was kind of thinking the same thing. I was a little surprised that you did, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm surprised too.
And I wonder how, like, I found myself in a few of those situations recently where I just, I've got together with a few friends, and the last thing I really want to do is get up out of the comfort of, my house or my office where it's, nice and warm and get dressed and go outside and be cold for a little bit.
Yeah,
I've actually, it's been like three times in the last 2 weeks where I've caught up with a few old friends, and
nice.
just as soon as I get out there, I'm having a great time. But it's just that initial push. It's almost
That
like going to the
initial,
gym.
yeah, that initial push is so crazy. It's all mental too. It
Yeah,
really is. It's such a mental roadblock that we put in front of ourselves, and that really sort of prevents us from experiencing like these crazy little moments in life that are really rich.
yeah,
And maybe that's something that we should think about when you're looking to like get in touch with somebody. You're like, I'll do it next time. It's like no, like the faster you do this, the quicker you get to sort of feeling something really like real in this world.
yeah,
But nah, like I said before, I'm really glad that you were able to do that with your friend. I'm in meaning to sort of get dinner with a few friends, but I think life gets in the way or the winter gets in the way, and people end up getting into relationships, and um, I mean you can't fault people for getting into relationships, but you can definitely tell like uh, it's just tougher. It's just tougher to meet with people, especially as you
yeah,
get older. I mean
yeah,
that makes sense to me.
yeah. And I mean, so I can speak a bit from my perspective too, in terms of like the relationship aspect. Um, like the number one thing for me, whenever it comes to the weekend, some people might want to get together and hang out, and the first thing I'll think is, well, hold on, what are Elena's plans for the weekend? Do we have plans? Because if we even have the slightest idea that we want to do something together, that'll override anything else.
Oh, no doubt. You guys
Almost
don't.
like
I mean, you
like
guys don't
90,
get to see
99% of the time.
each other as much as you'd like.
Yeah, I mean I guess that's true. Um,
That makes perfect sense to me.
so yeah, I guess maybe if we lived together, maybe it would be a bit different for me because we'd see each other all the time. But I
More.
guess
Yeah.
that could be the same. That could be the same for a lot of other people too in a similar situation. It's just you end up prioritizing that significant other over some of your friends, and I don't think that's a bad thing
No, absolutely not.
per se, but it's kind of unfortunate that the people that have to lose out are your close friends.
I don't think your close friends do lose out. I think they understand. Good friends should understand. Um, where sort of like what's important to you, and as long
Right.
as you're happy, they're happy. Is it nice to sort of hang out with people? Sure,
Yeah.
but it's not like oh my gosh, pay attention to me. like it's not that serious. I think we're all sort of grown and we understand how the world works. Um, but it's just one of those unintended casualties.
Yeah.
Uh, and it's a little bit tragic, but you spend time with whoever's most important to you at that moment. And for some people, it just ends up being the same person, and that's how I sort of see what a relationship is like.
Yeah.
Um, but I mean, it's the same with everybody.
Yeah. That is true. So how have you found making friends since you've graduated? Because I'm not quite in that state yet. I'm still in grad school. I'm still on a campus. So I interact with plenty of people my age still.
Uh huh.
What about you in the work environment?
You become friends with people at work, pretty quickly. You bond over like bullshit that you're
Yeah.
doing. Like, can't believe Tina did this again. Shout out to all the Tinas in the
God
world.
damn it, Tina.
Um, yeah, I think you just have like a very sort of amicable relationship with people at work. But depending on who you work with, people do have very sort of distinct real world office sort of relationships.
Yeah.
So it's like, hey, we're like the closest people in the office, but come quitting time, it's like, what are we doing right now?
Yeah.
Like, I'm trying to go back to my real life. But it's not easy. I think the easiest way that I've read and I've sort of experienced is just like joining clubs or activities where people are doing stuff, and it's like,
Right.
oh, well, you can bond. It's sort of like it's basically college all over again,
Yeah.
for lack of a better sort of phrase. It's just, oh, we gotta all pretend like, hey, what's your name? Oh, what do you do? Nice. Like, it's just the same dog and pony show.
Yeah. I was kind of thinking about that when it came to work, because the interesting thing with that is that you have to have there's you can have a personal relationship with some of these people, but there's also that business relationship. And
When you say personal relationship, what do you mean?
so what I mean by that is somebody that you would actually be interested in talking to and having a one-on-one conversation with, or hanging out with after work, like you would
Like in a
at school.
like in a okay, not in a romantic capacity.
No, 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 nothing,
All right,
nothing romantic.
cool.
Just
I just want to make sure that we were on the same page there,
yeah, yeah,
because that is never a good idea.
yeah,
Although never say never. One of my good friends, Dave, shout out to Dave Bradley. Um, he gave me a interesting comment. He goes, "You spend your entire life at work, and you get to see people like in sort of like in the shits, not like actual shits, but like in the trenches,
hmm,
and you get a real sense of who people are like.
yeah,
And like depending on the industry, you're sort of always at work. So there's nothing wrong with potentially like obviously it has to be mutual. You're not trying to definitely not trying to get fired, right?
yeah,
But that's why it's a thing. That's why people do it. Because if you spend all your time at work, when are you supposed to like find this sort of fabled other person? But I'm sorry, you're right. Let's go with the assumption that you're just doing it to someone you want to hang out with. I'm sorry.
yeah. Yeah. So going back, I was wondering how, like, is it like, you have to work with this person, right?
Yeah.
I'm trying to think the scenario that I'm trying to get at. I guess there are a few different scenarios. Say there's a scenario where you really like working with this person, but you really don't like the person in general. So I've heard that Jamie and Adam from the MythBusters, they work very well together, but
Yeah.
they neither of them actually consider one another a friend. So they're never going to hang out on the weekend. They barely speak to each other outside of work. And it's kind of like a sad thing to read. They've both done Reddit Ask Me Anythings, and they've both given similar answers on the topic, and they've said it's not really like anything that you should be upset about or pity them, or whatever the emotion is.
Right.
It's just kind of, that's how they work very well together. They're entertaining. They make a great TV show, but they have very different interests. in
which is
their
fine,
personal lives,
which
and
is
it's fun.
fine.
Yeah, right.
Like I work with a great team at American Express. You know,
Yeah,
we got a lot of smart people doing really cool things. But between like Friday night, if we're not drinking together, if we're not out, like I've stayed out with people really late with the group, like Thursday nights or Friday nights.
yeah,
We stayed out like pretty late. But on weekends, if it's like if for some reason like a group text doesn't get sent out, then we won't talk for 48 hours, and it's not weird
yeah.
because the standard like water cooler talk is what you do this weekend. Like going into the weekend, everyone asks, "Oh, what are you doing this weekend?" You come back, "Oh, how was your weekend?" I just realized that I'll ask the question on Thursday or Friday, "What's your weekend looking like?" And most of the time when I ask on Monday, I'll totally have forgotten what they said. But that's neither here nor there. You're just doing it because you're trying to be a person, you know? You're trying to be a human being. But I haven't made too many friends. Uh, you know what? That's a lie. I just lied. My friend Nicole
Okay.
Cardoza.
Yeah.
Shout out to Nicole Cardoza. Shout out to Yoga Foster.
You're just giving all the shout outs today.
All the shout outs. I'll take care of the shout outs
Shout
today.
out to everybody.
Shout out to everybody who I love. Be good, be healthy. But I met her. So here's a funny thing. I love telling the story. I don't know if she likes me telling the story, but we met at Ogilvy when I used to work in advertising.
Right.
And she was part of this rotational program that Ogilvy does where every 3 months or every 4 months you sort of, I think every 3 months you join a new group for the quarter. And then
Mm-hmm.
after a year, you will have tested ideally four very different groups. And then you get a pick where like you get matched and then your groups match you depending on stuff like that. And then you get placed into a group. Now, I remember meeting her and I was like, "Ooh, like, I won't lie. I thought she was really beautiful. So I was like, I want to talk to you." And then we started talking and I was like, "Hey, I want to get some dinner, like ordering dinner because we're all working late. Like, do you want,
As usual.
as usual?" You remember my Ogilvy days. Those
Yeah, yeah. I
days.
think 80. I think 80-hour weeks were the regular for you.
80-hour weeks were the regular. Yeah. Um, which is always something that sort of remember when people talk about. Like, I'm not saying that Wall Street salaries are out of control. I think some people's salaries are out of control. But when you take a look at how much work is done by these people,
Yeah.
it can be I can understand. Like if your average person on let's just say Main Street is working 35 hours a week because you get that 1 hour for lunch, you know?
Yeah.
It's like so you most people work 7 hours a day, 1 hour at lunch, 8 hours. So you're
Yeah.
working 35 to 40 hours a week. If that's all you're working, you have a ton of time left on your hands. Like on a slow day here at Amex, if I get in at like let's just say 10 and I leave at 6,
Mm-hmm.
like your morning is pretty relaxed, your evening is pretty relaxed. That's one thing. Now double the amount of work hours you're at.
Right.
80, 100. I've seen people work 120 hours.
Right.
I think that was over obviously over the course of 7 days, but
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, my most like billed hours is 126. Think about that. Couple of all-nighters, 18,
That's
19-hour
insane.
weeks, all
That's
billed.
insane.
All billed. Yeah. I mean, but you're hungry though. That's not the point. The point is we were working late and then we were just talking like getting to know each other cuz I knew some of the people. Like I'm so close with a lot of those people. Um that were part of that what's it called? Part of that sort of program that have now gone on to do different things.
Yeah.
Uh but one of the first things she said was, "Listen, I'm not here to make friends. I'm here to learn. I'm here to get as much out of this program as possible. Now I'll go out drinking with you. You know, we'll go out and have a good time, but don't expect me to hold your hair at 3 in the morning." And I go, "Look at this badass bitch over here." Um, and I was like, I really liked that outlook. Like you're here to kill it. You're
Yeah.
not here to make friends. I think there's a smart time to decide like what your goals are, and there's not nothing to say that you can't have like amicable relationships at work. You should have amicable relationships at work, and you can even have friendships. You know, I'm playing Madden right now, I'm not playing Madden. I'm getting my ass stomped in Madden. Shout out to you, Rob Harrigan. I know you're listening. I know you're laughing. I know you're laughing. You deserve it.
What was the score of that game
Don't
again?
talk to me about that score. You know the score.
No, I really forgot it.
It's
I
like
just want to know.
67-27.
Okay, so you at least got 27.
Fuck you. Fuck.
I'm just saying, like, on a good defensive day, 27 is more than enough to win a game. That's all.
I'm not gonna debate how I'm shitting the bed with you right now. All right.
All right.
But yeah. So I sort of was really attracted to her outlook at work, and we've been really close friends. I'd argue that she's one of my best friends. 4 years in now, you know.
Yeah.
I love that girl to death, but it was interesting because she said that so calmly, and I go, oh wow, like no one's really hit the nail sort of that squarely on the head before. Like everyone sort of just skirts around the idea, like you get my time between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. But outside of that, that's like my life. And most people, a lot of people aren't willing to have those two worlds sort of cross each other, cross over. Ellie with the crossover, you know? So,
Nobody's gonna get that reference, by the way.
no one's going to get that reference. It doesn't matter.
No.
Matt, do you get the reference? Exactly. That's all that matters. I'm talking to you right now.
I got the reference.
But yeah, I think I've created really, really close personal relationships with people I've worked with. I think it depends on what kind of person you are.
Yeah.
I'm a pretty open guy, so I think that sort of led to like when you're working together with someone, like really late nights, you end up just like having conversations about real stuff.
Yeah.
And that sort of like makes it easier to be friends with people outside of work.
Yeah.
But it's not like I'm calling these people up, right, on Friday night, and be like, hey, what you doing? Let's go get drinks or something. Or like, hey, what are you doing this weekend? Let's hang out. It's just
Right.
sort of we have a great relationship at work, and like maybe if we were doing something or going to an event for work together, we'd like go together,
Mm-hmm.
like to the event together, but nothing like real crazy. Have you heard?
No,
Have you ever heard of like the whole like work husband and work wife title?
I have.
That's something that's definitely real. Like you just hang out. Like my boss and I, one of the greatest people I've ever worked for currently. We get lunch like every day. We just chill out at lunch every day.
Yeah.
And I love it. I love it. But I mean, I'm not considering her my work wife by any stretch of the imagination. I'm just saying people that you hang out with a lot at work,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
people like you send funny links to,
Right.
stuff like that.
Is she the one that you sent that thing to in G chat? That
Yeah.
I don't remember what. Okay.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
not. Yeah, that was supposed to be for you.
Yeah.
And
I don't
sent
remember what
to
it
my boss.
was.
Thankfully, my boss is real cool, and she laughed. But I was like, oh god.
Was it like a not safe for work?
It was a not safe for work. It was Complex Magazine did an article on porn, made specifically for the Oculus Rift.
Oh yeah.
So
Yep.
it was slightly not
It
safe
was
for
a
work.
video. It was a video, right?
It definitely was a video.
Oh,
Now they
yeah.
showed people's reactions to wearing it like side by side with the video, but the video was blurred out.
Yeah. I don't think. I think I listened to it, but I don't think I watched it.
Yeah.
I can't be having people like I have my headphones in at work, right? And or I should in the lab or in whatever at work, and people sneak up on me all the time. Those
You
that
can't
come
be
over
caught
my
watching
cubicle,
porn at work.
and I can't. Yeah, I can't be watching people's reactions to porn at work. So
Yeah.
had that on in the background and just listen to what the reactions are.
No, that's legit. That's legit. So it's funny. I just opened up my phone to Instagram, and this male model, I am Gala. It's not Eam. I don't think it's Eam. IAMGALLA. He's wearing my coat right now, and I love it. Cause I saw him wear it originally, and I went to go chase it at Ted Baker. He's wearing it again. I go, yeah, love it. Sorry, but yeah, I think making friends is sort of something that you have to actively engage in trying to do.
Yeah, I remember there are certain people that have personalities that are just so appealing. I'll be envious of some of them because they make friends so easily.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is about them. I guess it's a combination of things. They're very approachable, but very confident in the way they speak and
Hmm.
the way they act. I got to work on that.
I think I think you
But
do
yeah,
the best you can.
yeah,
You can't be someone you're not. Because people see through that pretty quickly, and
yeah,
it's not something that you can maintain for a long time. You are who you are, and the best relationships that you have are uh, are based on people who like you for you.
yeah,
Um, I always sort of like the idea like when you go to college you can reinvent yourself, or when you go to work for the first time you can reinvent yourself. But that's not the case. I think it takes a lot of self dedication to really reinvent yourself because you
yeah.
are who you are.
Do you know anybody that's done like a complete 180?
Yes, I know a friend who moved cross country and has become such a stronger person for it. The person was in New York for a few years and just couldn't always find the right sort of footing. Like
Right?
everything was, oh, it's like when you screw a jar in and it's like, it seems like it's tight, but it's like a little bit off.
Yeah,
You know, you could tell that that person wasn't 100% sort of comfortable with with everyone around him. And now that that person moved, that dude's killing it right now.
okay.
And I think sometimes you need to change, get a change of scenery to sort of shock the system back into sort of alignment, like proper alignment for you.
Right.
Um, but yeah, keeping in touch with friends is tough. Making new friends is tough. That's why like I've realized like every year out of college, because like out of high school you made your certain friends, and then like through college you sort of added more friends to like your pile, and
Right.
then like you said, like, even out of college it's hard to keep in track of people. You find out really quickly who's a friend and who isn't. Um, the friends are there that'll always sort of reach out, and obviously there are some friends that are better at reaching out than others.
Yeah.
But like all the best friends that you have, you can go for months without talking and pick up right where you left off.
Yeah, that's the nice thing.
Those are the greatest friendships.
Right.
Um, but there are in your heart of hearts, you'll know who's important and who isn't, and then you just sort of maintain those as best you can. Now, what's interesting is how you and I would sort of deal if we moved to a new location.
Right.
Now, I can't tell you how we would sort of do. I think that you and I are personable enough to make friends, but it's just for me, it's sort of exhausting. Wouldn't you say like emotionally exhausting to be like, oh, I don't know if this person likes me. Are we friends? Do I ask for the number? You know, it's like
Yeah.
you've done all that work already. You like those costs are so sunk by now that like it doesn't matter. Like those aren't even real costs anymore.
Yeah. So I've moved a lot in my life. So I didn't just have like, the transition from high school to college and starting elementary school to make friends. I've done it many times in my life where I've had to make brand new friends and I've lost touch completely with some of my old friends from other states and cities.
Hmm.
But that's I guess that's kind of what I was getting at too when I was asking this question. I'd recently been thinking about what if I moved to California. Let's say say if I moved to like San Francisco, maybe I know a couple people that live there,
Uh
but
huh.
people that I did, it just by me saying I don't even know if I don't know if I know anyone that lives out in San Francisco, I guess kind of implies that I don't have any good friends that are there. How would I go about making new friends outside of work? I guess there are a million and a half different things that you can do in any city anywhere, right?
Right.
You just gotta put yourself out there a
You just
little
gotta put
bit.
yourself out there.
Yeah.
Um, like I said before, I think you just do it based on activity. Like you join like rec
Right.
leagues.
Yeah. Go to the
Um,
gym.
go to the gym. I know a lot of people who have met friends through rec leagues. Like there's a flag football. There's a whole sports league called Zog Sports in New York That's really popular. It's pretty expensive. I think it's like $1,000
Yeah.
for like a season, but you get like full refs, full teams, all the equipment. You just gotta show up with your team, and it's depending on like most people can't field like a full football team or a full soccer team, so you end up meeting people,
Right.
and it's like, oh, you're cool. Like you see them like on the regular, and then you do something that you both enjoy, so you're both relaxed mentally, and then you sort of open up to each other. And if it's and if all those sort of variables align, and you're so like down to hang out even more, then that's where you take it from there.
Yeah.
You're right though. It sounds an awful lot like dating.
Yeah. A little bit.
Oh my lord, it's not easy out there.
I imagine the dating thing, especially e-dating, is a little weird. In fact, Rob, he sent you kind of what was it? Some feedback, I guess, on last week's episode,
Yeah.
and why one of your dates was so much more natural and maybe
Well, I think
better.
one date was natural because me and her are like she's one of my closest friends, and I don't even
Right.
want to call it a date. It's just we're just calling it a date out of sort of fun.
Right.
We just had a lot of fun together. We did like we had a really fun itinerary planned, and it was. I mean, we just like spending time together. So that's nothing.
Right.
I don't want to read too much into that.
Yeah, yeah, but like, it's just, it's just natural. Like, it's there's little expectation on that interaction. So my first date with Elena, while it was declared a date beforehand, it's not like either of us would be devastated if it didn't go great or if we decide not to see each other again.
Right.
But when it comes to like online dating, it's you're meeting somebody for the first time
Hmm.
and you've had these small conversations with them beforehand, but you still don't know exactly what you're going to get out of that person. So
That's exciting,
you're
though.
trying to read. Yeah, it's definitely exciting, but you're like it's exciting, but it's very different, I think,
Oh,
than
sure.
meeting somebody, having some conversations with them, deciding you're interested in maybe taking this somewhere romantic, and then going out with them. It's you're not reading into signs so much like your date with Jackie last week, everything that she said to you, you you were reading into it and you tried to find a reason for why she felt that way, why she said it, and like and almost judge her character on it, or maybe not judge her character, but just build this idea of her in your head and what you really like. Could you move forward with this?
Yeah.
And I'm not sure if it always works out that way on more like casual dates, somebody that you kind of know but don't know super well.
Hmm.
I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. I haven't done a whole lot of dating myself, so.
Uh, I mean, there's something exciting about meeting somebody. I think most of the time, like after a long week of work, you're just looking to like either hang out with your friends, or if you're going to go out, you go with your friends, and uh, at least that's where I am. A lot of my friends are. I think
Hmm.
the week, let's just be with people we want to be with. And sort of dating just seems to me like another activity or a chore you have to do.
Yeah.
Um, I think that's what I'm looking for. Uh, the feeling that it's not a chore when I meet you. Like the conversation doesn't stop. We have a great time, and I've had a lot of those before.
Yeah.
Sort of
Yeah.
just
I mean,
like
like you said,
you look up, it's 3 hours, 4 hours later.
right. You said that was your first bad one. Every other one before that has been
Every other
good.
one's been pretty good.
Yeah.
I feel like first dates aren't the worst because everything's sort of on the table, and even
Hmm.
with this last one, that wasn't sort of the optimal uh, first date experience. It was so easy to sort of talk to a degree because because everything's on the table.
Yeah.
Now I sort of started to get fed up at the end because I just didn't understand what I was still doing there. But I mean that's not the point, right? The point is first date like people put too much stock into it, and it's nice to sort of have a nice first impression, whatever. But let's not make it harder on ourselves than it already is. Like we're already out, we're already putting ourselves out there. Let's just take it easy.
Yeah. So maybe that's it. Maybe it's the fact that you're out looking specifically for dates with a lot of different people. There's a huge pool of people or potential dates, and
All these girls are saying they want a good guy, but I'll believe it when I see it.
you said it earlier, right?
I hate that. I hate that when girls say, I'm just looking for a good guy. It's like, well, we've been here all along. Don't But don't tell me you want one and then go after the same guy that you always go after, which might not necessarily be a good guy. Like, just go after whatever you want to go after. Don't
But
feel like you need to say stuff.
to be fair to women, guy, like I guess the stereotypical good guy always says that, and then at the same time they feel like they're entitled to the girl that says that because she's hot.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's that great sort of point. You can't say you're a good guy and then sort of either expect things to happen or demand things to happen
Yeah.
because then you're just a creep.
Right.
You're a huge creep. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. But it was just funny. Like my friend Sabrina said something. I go, yeah, they're everywhere. It's just if is that what you want in this very particular moment? Because we can all want different things, and
Yeah.
and even from like one sort of suitor to the next, it might not always be the same thing.
Yeah, I guess when it comes to the good guy, there I guess there's different aspects to it because you say good guy, but that's very one dimensional. There are a lot of things that I think people would are interested in, and
Well, I think good guy can be sort of a blanket statement for, uh, like nice to me, treats me well, likes what I
yeah,
do, is interested in what I'm saying, sort of shower like not shower, but like shows me affection. Like that's sort of like what most people will want on some level. So that's what
right.
I equate in my head as good guy.
That's kind of what I do too. But at the same, but I'm wondering, nah, maybe no, I'm just not even gonna bother. I think that is kind of what I think of it too. Um,
Are all women the same? No, I don't think that's what we're out here to prove either.
yeah,
I think that's a safe sort of generalization you can make. Wouldn't you agree?
yeah,
But yeah, I'm just looking for someone to feel very natural with, and uh, and when you find it, it's like, oh, this is such a great sort of surprise that you're able to be this natural with each other.
hmm
That's sort of the first barometers that I have of, do I want to see this person again? Like, oh, do I like talking to you?
right.
Do I feel like we've only brushed the surface on what this could be?
So I have a question. Are you in your dating? Are you like is do you think could you see yourself can I see myself marrying this person when you go out on a date? Like is that
No,
your ultimate goal? Is that what you're
absolutely
looking
not.
for?
Absolutely
No?
not.
Okay.
I think that's way too early to decide if.
Well, I should so like it's not I guess I don't mean like when you meet her you're saying could that be my wife? But I guess what I'm really asking is the point are these like
Am I short term
your
dating or long term
Tinder and
dating?
your eHarmony profile like are you looking for a future wife right now?
Well, I don't have any Harmony profile because that shit costs
Is
money.
which one was it? Okay, Cupid.
Okay, Cupid.
Sorry.
Okay, Cupid
Yes.
is free.
Sorry, advertising the
Uh,
wrong thing. At least we're not getting paid for it.
yeah, right. Pay us, okay, Cupid. Uh, your site, your app is broken. If you want to bookmark somebody, it crashes the app. Somebody should know that. That's a bug. Put a ticket in Jira. Um, but for me, I think I'm open to long term dating. I think it always starts out short term dating.
Yeah.
In my head, like, oh well, we'll see each other for a few times. If we like what we, if the emotional aspect, the physical aspect all sort of pans out, then you sort of shut down the short dating game and you just transition to a long dating game.
Okay.
But for me, I'm never thinking like, oh, is this gonna be the future mother of my kids? No, no, because I pick up on the dumbest things, like stop playing with your fork, or like it's like nonsense that like depending on what kind of mood I'm in will tick me off. But gotta give everyone the benefit of the doubt, right?
Yeah. Isn't that annoying when you're just like in a really irritable mood and you recognize it and you just can't break yourself from it?
Yeah, it's tough. I just have to work out. I just have to feel some kind of bodily pain
Uh
that I
huh.
know is like good for me some way. Not like I'm like a masochist or some kind. Just like working out is just it just feels good. You get those the hormone level changes.
Yeah.
But you're right. You can be really stuck in a rut though. Like hormones are so powerful.
Yeah, they are.
You can feel it almost leaving your system. Like it just flushes out of the system. Like especially after I'm done running and I'm like sort of slowing down, coming to a jog,
hmm
and like your body sort of catches up with you. You're like, oh wow, like I can feel all that bad energy like a couple miles behind me now.
Yeah, just kind of I just lose myself. I feel like I'm in one state beforehand and then I work out and I'm somewhere completely different, and then afterward, I'm again in a completely different place
Yeah, I feel
with
more opened
nowhere.
up after I work out. Like I'll looser, like
Yeah,
my chest is out more, but like everything else, like because you're working, you're like hunched over, like your body's sort of like almost like a claw, like if you make a claw with your hand, like
yeah,
everything's sort of like that. But then like after you work out, you sort of like open yourself up a little bit.
right.
That's how I feel. But we'll see, man. We'll see with these dates if they end up being anything.
Yeah,
I don't have any news to report. I did reach out to a few girls on OkCupid. Maybe next week we can do a reading of like my profile and see what you think.
okay.
Um, but but yeah, I think I'm pumping the brakes a little bit. That the date that didn't go so well really forced me to sort of step back for a second.
Hmm.
And just think to myself, am I doing this for the right reason?
Okay.
Um, and my friend who I had a pretty nice heart to heart with, she told me, "Are you dating? Like, are you dating just to say you're dating? Like, are you putting yourself out there? Are you putting yourself out in the wrong places just to say you did it until you are ready to like accept yourself for who you are? Like,
That's a deep question, man.
yeah." And I was like, that's a good question. I don't know. I don't know if I'm doing this just to tell people that I'm doing it. But then again, who gives a shit? Like at the end of the day, like who gives a shit if you're dating or not?
Yeah.
But that question really sort of forced me to think about it. Like, are you just putting yourself out there in places that you know don't have a future just to say you did it? It's like, well, that's you hit me right in the noggin with that one. So, I don't know if I have the answer to that yet. I do know that I'm just sort of like getting. I feel like I'm just getting my legs under me, really. Um, just like getting a feel for what I like and what I don't like.
Which is good.
Yeah, I can just tell you that I keep finding stuff I don't like. Um, and I think I need to be less critical of people because nobody's perfect. And I think we always sort of like demand like because when you see a profile picture online, like it's always the same thing with Tinder. Like you immediately build a narrative in your head.
Right.
We're also self-absorbed that we feel like we know these people based on what one image that they posted. Like, oh, we know their life story.
Yeah.
It's like don't do that. That's unfair to the other person, and you're so off base most of the time that you just make yourself look foolish.
Or at least just to yourself. I
Yeah.
was actually thinking about that, or I think we actually talked about it a little bit in a previous podcast. It's like the way you expect people to be perfect. Maybe you don't expect people to be perfect. You sometimes look for some people to be perfect, and then you forget that you do a lot of things. You probably do a lot of things that really annoy and bother people yourself,
Oh
to
yeah.
the point that you're in essence not perfect to them. I feel like it's kind of important to take a step back from time to time and think about the things that we actually do that either that either bother other people or just things that you generally shouldn't do anyway.
Yeah. I think that's absolutely true. I think that's something that we could all work on. Yeah. I just stay in touch with your friends.
Yeah,
Uh, we just gotta stop taking them for granted. And I'll let you know if I'm putting myself out there for the right reasons or not.
yeah, sounds good.
I guess that's it for this week.
Yeah,
So I'm Sandy.
I'm Reza.
Thanks for listening.